Hey everybody, how's it going out there? Welcome to Movies and Music with AJ. My name's AJ. Thanks for watching. And we're back today continuing our series of October album reactions in which we're listening to music from the 70s that you could say fits within the spooky season vibe, you know, music to get us into the Halloween spirit. And we recently listened to Black Sabbath and their 1971 album Master of Reality. We're changing lanes here a little bit, going in a more funky direction, a more psychedelic direction, and that is with Funkadelic and their 1971 album Maggot Brain. You know, I was a little skeptical at first when I was thinking of what albums from the 70s can I listen to that might fit within Halloween or like a horror theme. And I'd been wanting to listen to Funkadelic for a while, but I was kind of skeptical as to whether or not this would fit in terms of like spooky season Halloween appropriate music. But then of course you see the album is called Maggot Brain, and the cover has what could look like either a severed woman's head or a woman who's buried up to her neck in soil surrounded by maggots in what, you know, there's nothing that says explicitly it's a graveyard, but in my imagination, if you were to pull out and zoom out, you'd be in a graveyard, and the woman looks like she's screaming. It's called Maggot Brain, so yeah, it's horror vibes all around, right? And so I was like, okay, you know, that kind of fits in the vibe. And it wasn't until I learned doing some research about the liner notes and what's in the liner notes that I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to include this as part of my Halloween album reactions. So yeah, if you don't know, in the liner notes of the vinyl edition of this album, there's a 2-page, I guess it's an article or an essay that talks about fear and the effect of fear on man and man's destruction and how fear and hate are kind of intertwined. It's amazing that it was written back in the 70s because I think it really applies to the world that we live in today. So yeah, let me read a little bit of that for you guys. So yeah, again, this is from the liner notes of Maggot Brain. Fear is at the root of man's destruction of himself. Without fear, there is no blame. Without blame, there is no conflict. Without blame, there is no destruction, but there is fear. Deep within the core of every human being lurks like a monster, dark and intangible. Its outward effects are unmistakable, its source is hidden. And yeah, it goes on to talk about, you know, fear and the kinds of fear that we harbor within ourselves and how we might not always recognize it or recognize what it's doing to us and how we interact with the world and with other people. But yeah, here it talks about how, you know, it says fear of people, fear of ourselves, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of our closest friends, fear of rejection, fear of commitment, fear of sickness, fear of deprivation, fear of inadequacy. So yeah, it's just talking about how having these kind of insecurities and fears can lead us to build resentment and hate for others, you know, the things that we're feeling on the inside that we don't want to grapple with. You know, rather than dealing with our own insecurities, we project those onto others. Yeah, it feels oddly relatable and timely for, I feel like, the world that we're living in today. And yeah, this last paragraph, I don't know if I'll be able to read the whole thing just because it's so long, but let me just start reading and see how far we get. In their blame about the future and their wish to forget the past, in their need to blame others and justify themselves, in their sense of helplessness and despair, in their lack of confidence, in their tendency to boast and protest their superiority, as long as human beings fail to see their fear reflected in these and 100 other manifestations of fear, then they will fail to see their part in the relentless tide of hatred and violence, destruction and devastation that sweep the earth, and the tide will not ebb until all is destroyed. That's deep, you know, and that's like, you know, we talk about fear, we talk about, you know, I love watching horror movies. It's actually something I've been doing a lot lately on my channel. What I like about horror is that a lot of times the monster, while being a literal monster, also acts as a metaphor for something about human nature that we fear, something in our own selves. You know, human beings often end up being the monster in a roundabout way in a lot of these stories. So yeah, I thought that was just really cool, really interesting point of view. And yeah, it's interesting to me that that's in this album because as far as I know, this is like a, you know, funk, psychedelic, rock type of album. I'm expecting music that's a little more on the upbeat and like dancey side of things, you know, almost party music. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the impression that I have from what I know about George Clinton. Here's how I know George Clinton, and that's being a 90s kid. George Clinton had a cameo on one of my all-time favorite hip-hop albums, probably just one of my favorite all-time albums ever, and that's Outkast and their album Aquemini. George Clinton had a cameo on the song Synthesizer Man. Great song, great album. Again, it's one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time. So yeah, I'm excited to finally give George Clinton his due and give one of his albums a spin. So let's go ahead and do that. Without further ado, this is going to be my reaction to Funkadelic and their 1971 album, Maggot Brain. Let's go. Here we go. Had to get the Halloween lights, you know, for full effect.
Mother Earth is pregnant for the 3rd time. I have tasted the maggots in the mind of the universe. I was not offended, before I knew I had to rise above it all or drown in my own shit.
This already reminds me, speaking of that Outkast album that I mentioned, there's a track on there that's about Mother Earth and climate change and man's effect on the Earth. This feels like we might dig into some similar themes here. Woo. Yeah, that's some emotive, expressive guitar playing right there for sure. Ooh, just got some more guitar in the left channel there. It was all on the right for a minute there. Got some dueling solos. I'm wondering if... is this two different guitarists, or... is it just one guitar they're kind of overdubbing or, you know, playing with the panning of it? Sounds phenomenal, though. I'm gonna have to look up who the guitarist is in this band. I don't... is it Clinton? Let's find out. Ooh. I'm loving the... I don't know if that's a lot of reverb or some sort of delay, but that guitar just feels just cavernous. It just feels like... yeah. Oof. Ooh. Eddie Hazel and Tal Ross I have as the two guitarists on this album. Yeah, this... I don't even know how I'm gonna edit this, because I can't just upload a whole song. That's just like flagrant copyright violation. That's how content gets blocked. Almost feels like a crime to chop up the solo, which I'm gonna have to do for sure. Wow. So one of my all-time favorite bands is the Mars Volta. So just like long instrumental passages like this that are just really ambient and just about creating an atmosphere. Like this kind of, I love this kind of stuff. I mean, this little portion in particular feels like stuff that Mars Volta was doing on their album Francis the Mute. Okay, maybe we're gonna start picking up here again in a second. Feels like it's slowly starting to build up. Feels like it's getting a little country. Maybe a little bluesy. Maybe more of that. It's haunting. Love that panning with the guitar. Yeah. Yeah, do yourself a favor if you can, listen to this on headphones. Really adding to the effect of it all. I don't even know where this album's gonna go from here. Clinton talking again. I wonder if the Mars Volta were big Funkadelic fans, or at least fans of this album. You ever just have a revelation about one of your favorite bands? You're like, oh, that's where they got that from. Can you get to that? Track 2. Yeah, not so much funk, but this just feels like kind of roots rock, country rock almost. Blues rock. Oh, nice. I'm loving all these vocals. I'm a sucker for harmonizing and people singing competing verses over each other. All those fun vocal tricks when you have multiple vocalists.
You sign with love and kisses, later come back, sign insufficient funds. Can you get?
Whoever's coming in with that, I wanna know, so good. I mean,
base your life on credit and your loving days are done. Checks you sign with the love kiss a later come back, shine insufficient fun. Y'all get to that.
Can you get? I wanna know.
I don't even know what to say. This is like, it's blowing my mind. I'm just trying to absorb all these different vocal lines. It's like having a bunch of people talking at you at the same time, but like in the best possible way. I'm just like, oh, that song was too short. They needed to keep doing that for like twice the amount of time. I was having fun with that song. This is what I was expecting. Now we're on to some funk guitars. Yeah. This is definitely more in line with what I expected this album to be off the jump. Guitar, it's just so, I don't even know what the right word for it is, but it's like just squonky. It's just like wah, wah, wah. It's like, it's what you associate with 70s guitar, you know? Came in big there. Hit it. This song is going hard, man. I haven't even had time to mention the organ, which I love organ, especially in rock and psychedelic and funk music. Is that a Hammond? Bernie Worrell, that's the name I'm seeing here for keyboards on this album. There he is. I love that descending line. That's great. There we go. Also this drumming, I haven't mentioned the drummer yet. Who is this? Tiki Fullwood. Just like good in the pocket drumming. I love how they make these solos, like they're loud and they're fierce, but whatever effect pedal they're playing it through makes them sound so distant. You know, I don't think it's just standard reverb, because it doesn't just sound echoey, it also sounds distant. Track 4, You and Your Folks, Me and My Folks. Ooh, that drumming sounded interesting. There's like a weird effect on there. Yeah, same with the piano just there in terms of they're just creating this real distant, almost like a big room sound, like these instruments were recorded in like a big cavernous space. It's a really interesting listening experience. Like it makes you feel like you're in a big warehouse watching them play live, you know? Oh yeah. Is this just standard drumming, or is this like some sort of... Are they electronic drums? Or just highly processed acoustic drums? There's definitely like a weird reverberation. I'm loving the double meaning of the lyrics of I want peace, but then he's talking about the rich got their peace. I'm guessing since this is the early 70s, they're referencing Vietnam. They're also referencing wealth inequality. Just really loving how fierce this all is, like musically and vocally, and just like obviously the lyrics are not shying away from serious issues, but it's just all being delivered with such fierce energy. Love it. Super stupid. That is the name of track 5. So far I just feel like the producer walked in and said, hey Funkadelic, how many lead vocalists do you want on this album? And Funkadelic said, yes. Oh, there it was again. Maggot Brain. Oh, he said you lost the fight and the winner is fear. There we are talking about fear again. Yeah, I'm wondering, I'm guessing this album was probably inspired by that essay that is in the liner notes in terms of the lyrical content. Ooh. I don't have much to say about this song. What's there to say? The song is just, it's fire. Yeah. I love that, just the rest of the band fading out. We still got that guitar. All the dissonance and cacophony, you just gotta love it. Whew. 2 tracks left, back in our minds. Track 6. I'm loving this effect. This percussion going from left to right. Yeah, again, more messages of sort of peace. We definitely needed to slow it down and have sort of a mid-tempo track after just a bunch of tracks in a row that just felt like they were just going full speed, just stomping the gas and not letting up. Get some brass in there. Very nice. The trumpet. Again, but even the brass has that same effect where it just feels very, you know, distant and laden with reverb. Alright, we've made it through 6 tracks of 7, and this album's just flying by, and so far, you know, it's clearly the lyrics are a very meaningful part of this album. They're talking about things like, you know, poverty and war and peace, and you know, they're definitely have some things to say, but man, musically it's just so fierce and intense, and there's so much going on musically and vocally even, that I'm just like, it's so much to take in. And I tend to, you know, depending on the style of music, right, if it's like singer-songwriter with just an acoustic guitar, you know, I have more mental bandwidth to focus on the lyrics. But when all the musicians are going this hard, it's difficult to also keep up with the lyrical themes, you know, when you just have such just fierce guitar solos and just, you know, just, yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. But man, I am really digging this album so far. We only have 1 track left, but much like the opener, which was about 10 minutes long, looks like the closer is also 10 minutes long. I'm wondering if we're going to get a little bit of symmetry here, where this closing track is also kind of a more slow, somber, more psychedelic effort and less funk like we've had in the middle of this album. So, interested to find out. It is called Wars of Armageddon. That's pretty intense. Can't tell if that was a storm or a bomb. I'm digging this cowbell, though. What was it about the 70s that there was just such an emphasis on percussion? Like, you got cowbell, you got bongos, you know, timbales in the case of like a Santana. Yeah, people really... Is that a baby? To wrap up my thoughts on that, yeah, people just... There's more emphasis on percussion, you know? Rhythm. This is a lot. Now we got air raid sirens. Yeah, it's like they just wanted to put all the most stressful sounds into one song. Got a baby crying, a grown man shouting, air raid sirens. Tiki Fullwood. Had to look up the drummer again because some of that drumming was catching my ear. I'm loving the panning. I wonder what the thought process is behind deciding A, to add panning to a guitar solo, and then B, when to add it and how much to use. You know, it's just going from left to right. You know, does the guitarist have a say in that? Is it the guitarist saying, let's pan my solo, or is it the producer, you know? we got Bernie Worrell. Can't quite make out what's being said, but honestly, the audio, it sounds like when you go to an airport and they make announcements overhead. We got a laugh track. Man, this song is chaotic. Can't tell if it's chaotic good or chaotic neutral though. Nice. Yeah, move that stutter. That. The chaos continues. I'm just gonna roll with the punches, man. Oh, okay. At first I thought that was like a end of round boxing bell, but I think it was more of a train coming bell. I was gonna say though, I just mentioned rolling with the punches and now we're getting an end of round bell. It's drumming though. I feel like I'm being punked now. I feel like somebody took the Funkadelic song, which is just this great funk song, and then just started overdubbing all these weird sound effects and, you know, whatever's going on. But only if it's consensual. And now we got cat sound effects, that's appropriate. I think this album was Halloween appropriate after all. Although this track feels a little more like on the April Fool's side of things. I think they had to put all these weird sound effects and things on this song because if it was just the music, it would be too much. Your brain would melt from how just fierce and amazing this instrumental track is. They had to put in some weird sound effects and things to distract you so you don't just totally lose your mind listening to the music. Just when the drumming, I was really excited to see where that was gonna go. It started doing like a and then it just stopped.
It's a fat, funky person.
It's getting spooky now. Somebody call Edgar Allan Poe. I don't even know what to make of that last track. It was pure chaos, but it also, the underlying instrumental track was also phenomenal, so chaotic neutral, I guess. Yeah, whew, let's talk about it. The album was fun, it was phenomenal, but it was also a lot. I mean, it was only 36 minutes, I think, but they managed to cram, I feel like, an hour's worth of music into that. That last track in particular was just, man, what, I don't even know what was going on there. It fit the name, though, Wars of Armageddon, because it felt like, you know, a lot of different ideas going to war with each other. over an instrumental track that was just blazing. It was just fire. Man, this whole album, I'm just gonna have to re-listen to it over and over because there was just so much going on musically that was just so many just brilliant things going on. But a lot of it was really busy. You know, it was very different from the opening track, right, which started off, it's very somber and melancholy. You know, it felt post-apocalyptic in a way. It felt like, actually in a way, it felt like the opening track was actually the aftermath of the closing song, right? Like, it would have almost made sense to go the other way around, to have Wars of Armageddon be the opening track. It's the Armageddon happening, but Maggot Brain is like the post-apocalypse. It's what we get after the Armageddon, right? It was like, it just had this like almost funeral-like quality to it. You know, it felt like a composition that was about death. It had a mournful quality to it, also very introspective and somber quality to it. And then it leads into an album where the bulk of the album is just more of what I was expecting, just upbeat, just funk, just fire. But then it just culminates into like overdrive, warp speed, fiery funk with just all kinds of weird sound effects and things thrown over it. That was a lot. Yeah, I'm still tripping out over some of these lyrics though. Like, going back to the opening track, the title track, Maggot Brain, there's this line here: I have tasted the maggots in the mind of the universe. I was not offended, for I knew I had to rise above it all or drown in my own shit. Yeah, I think that kind of goes to those liner notes that I was reading in the intro about fear. You know, that essay was talking about how it's our own inner fears, our own insecurities, not the tangible outside world fears that we have to fear. You know, if you're going to talk about fear itself, it's everything that we hold inside. That's the real thing. That's the real monster that we have to conquer. This kind of feels similar to that. You know, this line here: I've tasted the maggots in the mind of the universe. He says he knows that he has to rise above it all, just like in that essay is implying that we have to rise above our fears if we're going to avoid imminent destruction. You know, and that's, again, this ending track is called Wars of Armageddon. There seems to be a lot of apocalyptic minded thinking in this album and in those liner notes. These fears, these things we harbor on the inside that we push away and we don't deal with, these are the things that lead to conflict and to our inevitable demise. You know, we have to rise above it all. You know, we can't be offended, we can't be scared. We have to just deal with the things that we don't want to deal with and rise above it. But yeah, woo, what an intense album in so many ways. Man, yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to this album again. Yeah, because this is an album that demands to be listened to. I can't imagine just listening to this album once and then moving on with my day. You know, it's just like, there's just so much here, so much I missed, and so much I'm looking forward to digging into in future listenings. But yeah, as for me, I should probably go ahead and call it a day for today. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you want to follow along with more of my reactions, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. Signing out for today, this has been Movies and Music with AJ. My name's AJ. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.